Welcome back to Windy Oberhof for the second race of the day, last race of the weekend. It's been an interesting round of the World Cup, the first, of course, after the New Year period. An opportunity in the men's tour, certainly, for someone to grab the yellow bib. This is their last opportunity with Johannes Tingesbø, the dominant figure in men's biathlon, sitting out this round and the next round. Well, here are the men on the start line, logging off for Russia, lying 4 in the World Cup standings. Alongside him is Simon Dessieux. This is the second rank. We've got Talia Beu, Martin Fourcade, Emilien Jacquelin on the front row of the grid. And of course, Martin Fourcade on a roll after his win in the sprint just 2 days ago. 6, Fillon Maillet. Mike, it says something that the French have 4 in the top 6 of the World Cup standings.
It speaks volumes. Their ski speed has been so strong for the first 4 World Cups, although I've felt certainly some were beginning to drop off in terms of ski speed, and that often affects your shooting as well.
And for the second race this season, no yellow bib in evidence. That's still belonging to Johannes Tingesbo. Martin Fourcade could get it today if he finishes in the top 3 and ahead of Tarjei Bø. Tarjei Bø has a minimal lead over Martin Fourcade in the World Cup standings. 44 points between Johannes Tingesbo and Tarjei, and then just 3 points between Tarjei and Martin Fourcade.
It's going to be close, and Johannes Tingesbo will be watching this back home, and I wonder, he'll be thinking, what strategy would I have employed today? But with Martin Fourcade having most of his head back, if you like, his confidence back, then he really is a tough man to beat, and that may well be the case again today.
Yeah, his aura is back. And in the post-race interview after the sprint, you remember he said, I didn't have to ski the first 2 loops as fast because Johannes Tingesbo wasn't there. That tells us volumes about how he races when Johannes Tingesbo is there.
I found that quite fascinating, actually. You know, he's won 78 World Cups, Martin, and he's the master of controlling his mind and his strategy. But as soon as you get a man in that field that's better than him, as Johannes has done the last couple of years, it has really affected him. I'm surprised he's allowed himself to chase the pace instead of run his own race, but he's back to his normal ways now, so he can dictate things today.
Well, absolutely, and usually your best strategy is playing to your strength. His strength is hitting the targets. You know, he's found it very easy to win in most of the last 7-8 years on the tour. Suddenly he has to ski out of his comfort zone. That makes shooting a different game.
And especially on the first lap of, say, a 10 kilometre, when you're really pushing your first 3.3 kilometres above your normal comfort zone, that unsettles you first time in to shoot. But Martin at the front. Unusual today, Patrick, because of the because of the rainstorm a couple of nights ago. They're skiing 5 kilometres before the first shoot. So I think we'll see it a sensible and relatively easy pace.
Yeah, and we saw that it didn't help the standing shooting in the sprint event where they skied the 5K between the prone and the stand shoot. Coming up to the first bit of downhill, this is going to be interesting, and definitely a good idea to be up in the front 3. Should anyone in the middle of the field take a fall, then we could have a few problems for those at the back of the grid. Only 2 women racing from Germany in the women's race earlier on today. Many more men have made it into the top ranks.
They certainly have 5 men, and Schemp on his good form here has been included. But yes, Philip Horn, Arndt Pfeiffer, Johannes Kuhn, who came 3rd on Thursday, and Benedikt Dahl.
You mentioned Simon Schemp. He effectively is the defending champion in this event. The last mass start was in 2017 here. Simon Schemp won that. That's one of, what's he got, 10 victories in his career, 12 victories, Simon Schemp. But you'll get good money if you put it on Simon Schemp and he comes through to win. He hasn't shown anything like the sort of form that makes you feel he's a winner.
And the other big factor that Schemp really doesn't like
is a little bit of wind.
Exactly.
He doesn't like a little wind, let alone a lot of it.
He doesn't. He wakes up and he thinks, not my day when it comes to... I mean, I hope he's maybe managed to turn that around, and it comes with practice and confidence, trying to get the targets in the wind.
Well, working hard is Christiansen, who's gone to the front. He's certainly skiing better this year than we've seen in the past, Mike. We've always talked about him as a reliable shot, but now he's looked stronger. For me, he looks as though he's stronger in the core than last year.
He's improved so much, and I think what he did last leg in the relay yesterday was outstanding, especially his ski speed and determination. So this is interesting. The slow Sunday afternoon pace we thought it might be has just been spiced up.
Well, you only have to look at the top 10 to realise that Norway and France are the 2 strongest nations in men's biathlon. France really the best improved this year. We've seen signs of it over the last 4 or 5 years. They've all been stepping up their game. And now with Fourcade back to, maybe not his best, but he's not far off it. Jacquelin, Fillon-Maillet, Dessieux, Guignard, they are one almighty army when it comes to biathlon.
Oh, very much. And interesting when Martin won on Thursday and Jacquelin alongside him, but second place. Martin could not praise enough the potential. Well, we've seen his potential, but the potential future of many, many wins that Jacquelin has ahead of him. A real talent, Martin said, that Jacqueline was, and he's really helping them. They trained together. They did a training race together. They were 1 and 2 at Christmas, and they were 1 and 2 on Thursday.
Yeah, and we ought to point out Loginov, who's in the mix as well, 4th in the World Cup standings, the Russian, and what's he had? 4 top 5 finishes this year so far. That's not bad in terms of consistency.
The ski speed, though, when we look at Thursday's results, Loginov performing well. There he is, bib number 4. His ski speed not really there in relation to Martin Fourcade, Talia Beu.
But today is more about the shooting than the skiing. We saw a massive penalty loops in the women's race earlier on. The average number of misses must have been close to 6. Haven't had time to work it out quite yet. But that can't be far off a record.
And only, significantly, only one athlete missing 1 target, and that was incredibly strong shooting from the winner. Don't want to give the name away unless, in case some people often watch the programs later.
Talia Beu, they're wearing 1. Wearing 3 is Emilien Jacquelin. And big day for Talia Beu. If he goes top 3 and finishes ahead of Martin Fourcade, he will be in the yellow bib for the first time since 2011, when he, of course, won the overall. Well, it's only going to be a couple of minutes before the crowd really get into this one, because they'll be coming past the stands into the range for the first time. Here we go, and France leading at the moment. They'll go into the lane that corresponds to their bib number for the first shoot. So it could be Christiansen who's the first to get a target down. Got himself up into the top 3. Skied pretty hard over the first a K and a half certainly, and then backed off from leading. But nothing between them as they come in for shoot number 1.
No, remember they're skiing straight through for the first 5Ks. There will be next time.
Old habits die hard, yeah.
Yeah, and then
my apologies.
Then it's just 1 lap of 2.5 in between the next 4 shots and to the finish line. So it's a new routine here. In the old days, we used to ski 3.755, 3.755, then 2.5 for the 20 kilometers. But they very rarely ski a straight 5 kilometer in biathlon. Up the Bergsteig, the most brutal climb. So the pace has calmed down again. It was lifted a little when Christiansen went to the front. He's still at the front, but he's decided it's hard work.
No, we didn't see any bib numbers or colours of the suits, Mike. Who would you be able to pick out just from the technique alone? I'm going for number 10, Benedict Doll. That's an easy one because he's got valgus knees, which is knock knees, well, not knock knees, bow legs, in other words. Is that valgus or varus? One or the other.
You're the physio.
Oh, I've forgotten all that.
I'll believe you, whatever you say. It's interesting, though, that now that skating, when skating came in so many years ago, 1985, most athletes are shaping. There is one efficient move, and limited upper body movement is the way. I think Martin Fourcade is the best in the pack, to be honest. The efficiency and the compression at the right moment.
Yeah, minimal movement of the
Benedict
upper body.
Doll, as you say, you can spot Benedict Doll. He's just put a ski pole up. He wants a new one.
Yeah, and you could spot Arndt Pfeiffer, I think, because his knees go the opposite way.
That's true. And there's Eder at the back. I think he's struggling already, Simon Eder.
I'm going for valgus as knock-kneed and Varus as bow-legged.
Well, the blue
just
suits,
seems more polite.
The blue suits of France, just 3 of them beginning to separate at the front of the field. There's Jakob Fack. I think Jakob can shoot well in this windy conditions.
And obviously body size makes a difference when it comes to trying to stand steady. A little stumble from Fourcade, recovers well, just driving that inside arm forward a little.
Do you know what?
It's a testing corner. It's a shame we haven't got one of these to the left as well.
And with the rifle, you know, that affects your centre of gravity. 4-kilo rifle sitting high up on your shoulder. The barrel's the heavy part. You really need to be well balanced coming around that bend at, what, 45, 50 k's an hour.
But interesting, Mike, how they're pretty much all together at the top of the hill. They spread out over 120, 130 meters, and then you get that concertina effect when the next hill climbs. But one or two on each occasion drop off the back. They lose contact with the group. So much better to be up in the top 5 or 6.
Martin at the front just looks so smooth. Interesting, Johannes Kuhn saying yesterday that his skis were destroyed. He realized that the Vitex base with the debris in the track had lifted up, and he could see his skis falling apart practically as he raced on them. And that would certainly have slowed his glide factor down. Martin there nearly fell backwards. Weight was back.
Yeah, I think there must have been a little bit of ice on that outside foot. Just lost the grip momentarily, but recovers well.
I still think Tirolekov was one of the best we've seen today going round that corner.
Yeah, aggressive skiing from Tirolekov. Another good result from her. Keeps her chances in. She's certainly a contender for the overall. We've got, what, 4 or 5 women who could win the overall in the men's, with Johannes Tingis sitting out at least 2 rounds, possibly 3. We've now got, what, 7 men in contention for the overall?
It's exciting, it's close. And yeah, maybe even more than 7.
Well, I think you've certainly got to go all the way down to number 7, Theon Maillet, who's only 71 points off the lead. Biontegard another 50 points further back. That might be a bridge too far for him.
If he wins today, he shoots well, Patrick. I'm thinking Biontegard a top 5 today.
Only one mass start so far this season. That was in Annecy, won by Johannes Tingis. Jacquelin in second, Tadej Bo in third. Only one clear shoot. Johannes Kern shot 20 out of 20 on that day, but the majority of the top 8, top 9 shot 19 out of 20. That is not likely to be the case today.
It's not. Martin sprinting away a little.
What difference is this long loop? Remember, even on the individual 20-kilometre, the loops are only 4Ks long. So there's another little burst from Martin Fourcade. That's a risky strategy at this stage.
Do you know, this is Martin back to it. Remember in...
I know where you're going. You're going to Nova Miesto.
Yeah. When it really played around with pacing then and still managed to hit the targets.
Well, didn't quite work. I think it backfired slightly. He was almost taking the mickey out of the rest of the field, and Tariabo on that occasion was the man to benefit.
I seem to remember that. Martin has played around with this for a number of years, and nobody else going with that increased pace leading into the first shoot. Well, I wonder how this would have affected Johannes Tingis.
Well, he wouldn't have known about it. It'd have been
way out
50 metres in front.
Interesting, well done. And Martin would only do this when his self-confidence is, and that's been Martin Fourcade's strength, is his total shell of self-confidence and self-belief, and he's got most of that back now.
Sort of taking control. In the middle of the period when he was winning successive World Cups, he controlled every race, and he loved getting out front in a pursuit or a mass start. Just seemed to give him, as you say, the confidence to play his own game. This is going to be interesting. He's only gained, what, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds at the most, but psychologically he's messed with the others.
I think that's his only gain, was to mess, and there's Tadej Bo going to his right. They have to line up on the target corresponding to their number. First time in.
Here we go. 1 or 2 puffing and panting. Benedict Zirl, early to strike, early to miss. Martin Fourcade gets target number 1 down. That's usually a very good sign, and he takes his time over the first shot, working from right to left. Tadej Bo next door to him, going left to right. 4 out of 4 for the Norwegian. Can he make it 5? He does. Great shooting. Fourcade not in a rush. Skiing fast, shooting slow. Not a bad combination on a day like this. Desur, Dale, Elisiev goes clear for Russia, and Julian Eberhardt hits 5. Now, he's pretty slick on the skis when he gets going. Be nice to see him challenge today.
Look at the traffic heading off to the right round the penalty loop. 150 metres for each shot you miss. And some athletes, it wasn't that difficult, Patrick. The flags were a lot kinder right now than they were for the women earlier today.
Yep, but under 50% hitting all the targets, 13 going clear. And as you can see, those who missed have lost between 23 and 29 seconds per shot. Tadej Bo, focused, Didn't really see him on that first loop, just settling in the front four. No mistake from Fourcade. Taribo controlling things at the moment. Fourcade's not going to have it for too long. Puts on a little burst. He's back out in front. He's going to make everyone else hurt. This is how it worked for him in the past, and that's exactly what he wants to happen today. I think he is desperate to get back into yellow.
Oh, and when you look at his results, watch what he did yesterday in the relay. That was Martin back where he used to be in biathlon, and of course taking the victory on Thursday. So he's had 2 brilliant races out of the 3 days, and at the moment looking very good.
Krishmar's done pretty well, Mike, for the Czech Republic. You know, not a bad season for him, and I was impressed with him in the relay.
Yes, he did a grand job, and the sprint was good as well. Shooting back to almost his Olympic standard when he took silver.
Round the right-hander, and Martin Fourcade just setting the pace, pulling a couple of meters clear of Taribo, who won't be too fussed with trying to stay with the Frenchman. You know, we saw that on the first prone, Mike. Martin Fourcade 3, 4, sometimes 5 seconds slower than anyone getting the first shot down. Therefore, those behind him don't have to worry too much about staying with him.
He's going to pump it up again, but I like the way that Martin does. It's doing nothing now until he's comfortable. So he's getting his breathing under control, the tension out of his body when he lines up to shoot. And this is how he used to do it. He's back to himself without Johannes Tingesbø in this field.
Arndt Pfeiffer, the leading German. There's Johannes Dahle wearing 8, and just behind him, the tall, lanky figure of Julian Eberhardt.
At the back there, Elisiev struggling with this pace. Martin is punching the pace to quite a painful level.
Second group still some 24 seconds behind, and that's almost exactly what you lose on the penalty loop today. Do they want drinks? I'd be surprised, but Tare's going to go for one.
Just looking at scores while he's taking a drink, we had 13 shooting 5 out of 5. We had 11 missing just 1. And then we've got 4 who've missed 2 and 3 athletes.
And 2 Frenchmen missing 3. Cloud, and again, Jacques Alain, who, to be honest, ruined France's chance of winning the relay yesterday.
That's a pity for him, going through a confidence, lack of confidence in his, certainly in his prone shooting there today.
Yeah, 2 penalty loops on the stand shoot in the relay, so he only hit 3 out of 8. That's poor shooting for someone of his ability.
Yes, and the day before, Martin at the press conference, I said earlier, was just praising him so much as a super talent and a potential future winner many times over. But he may come back as long as he hits the next 15.
Johannes Kern wearing 11 in that second group. 23 from Austria is Felix Leitner, shown a lot of potential. Erlen Bjontegard wearing 7, his World Cup ranking. He'll not be happy being at the back of the field at the moment. Jesper Nellin it is, who scraped in to the start sheet wearing 30.
He did. Did you see his coach? I didn't see which coach it was, but ran through the traffic so that he could give Jesper Nellin an absolute picture of where the fall of his shots were. He only missed 1, but clearly he needs to adjust his sights. So important to get that information from the coaches.
And difficult on a mass start where everyone's so close. Obviously, in the time trials, it's easy. Even the pursuit, they're spread out more than this.
It's a big pack at the front there. We've got 10 at the front. Leitner's in the front there, didn't pick up on him. He hasn't been shooting well in the previous 2 days here of racing.
Now, Mike, do you think that first 5-kilometre loop had a detrimental effect on the quality of the shooting first time round?
I think so. The flags, normally we get 18 to 20 in a mass start in decent shooting conditions. I thought we maybe see more than 13 with a perfect score. I thought 15 today would be an expectation, so I think it probably did unsettle him when you're not used to skiing so far before the first shoot.
Yeah, and normally that number that are clear is halved at each shoot.
Yep.
So come the second throw, and we then have 10 clear. By the end of the race, we have 5 clear at the most in the mass start.
At the most.
So today we're starting with 13 after the first shoot, so 5 or 6 maybe of this first group will hit the perfect score again.
Probably drop to 8 or 9, won't it? Let's see where how the flag's working. And I don't think we'll see many more than 1, maybe 2 of the best 30 in the world getting all the targets today. That's not bad wind. It's changeable. You just have to.
That's the issue now, isn't it? You've got to be aware. And we saw Vera.
It's just picked up.
Yeah, we saw Vera in her 0. 2 perfect groups, one with the wind and one without the wind, and that meant that she was painfully aware of the changes in the wind while she was shooting. Simon Dessieux, faster strike, much faster first shot from Martin Fourcade this time, and he draws ahead of Tadej Beau. That could be the yellow bib coming Fourcade's way if he can keep this standard going. Holds on 3 as the gust comes through the stadium. Pfeiffer is the first to clear, and are the Germans going to see a German victory on the last race of the weekend? 2 misses from Tadej Beau. That puts him a long, long way behind the leaders.
Martin Fourcade, that was almost a schoolboy error. He seemed to be breaking his position as his trigger was squeezing, and that snatched the last shot away. He'll know that, and he'll be so angry with himself.
So much for 6, 7, 8 going clear. We're down to 1 already. We are down to 1 with a perfect score. Extraordinary. And the change in wind.
Let's be honest, the wind did pick up there.
Yeah, dramatically so.
And the wind has such an effect. The bullet is traveling over 500 kilometers an hour, and the strong wind, with it rotating so fast in a clockwise direction, the bullet, it presses it low and right with that particular wind.
And Mike, who won their first World Cup here back in 2012?
Well, he's at the front again.
Arndt Pfeiffer. Could he do it in 2020? That would be a fantastic result, and certainly raise the spirits of the German team before they head to Ruhpolding for the next round of the World Cup. Exciting times. The only man clear. 10 out of 10 so far. Well, this is what the fans have been waiting for. It's what they've been paying their money for, to see Germany out in front. A decade ago, or 2006 really, 2006, it happened almost every other race. Since then, it's been pretty lean times, since the retirement of the Sendels and the Grosses and the Lux. But Pfeiffer doing his bit today. Is it going to work out for him? Another 10 shots. And he should be okay, Mike. What's he got? 22 seconds in hand.
And look who's second place. This is exactly what German biathlon needs their athletes at the moment, in first and second place.
So these are the men who've only missed 1 shot. And then Philipp Horn, Bjørnsgaard, Tadej Beau have all missed 2.
Actually, Simon Eder not skiing fast, so he was late coming through, but he's actually cleared his first 10 shots.
Apologies to Eder, but what has happened to his skiing? He's 25 seconds down, having not hit or not missed the target so far today. This is the chase group. Out front we have Arndt Pfeiffer, still at least 23 seconds clear. We'll see what sort of pace Pfeiffer sets on the climb back into the stadium.
Just also in this pack, we saw Jesper Nellen, the only Swede in this lineup today. We saw his coach desperate to give him the information on how to adjust his rifles. He's done that, and he cleared his second 5. And that's why he's in the chasing pack.
Martin Fourcade just settling himself. He won't be panicking at this stage. Hit the first, or hit the last 5 in the sprint event, and it's not happened so often. He's done it in relays, but he hadn't done it in a race before that, whereas in his prime, hitting the last 5 was his trademark. So strong. He has been, with 78 wins in his career, he has been the master of his last 5 shots, and we saw that on Thursday in the sprint competition and the relay yesterday. Now the uphills, Mike, are starting to cut up. Slightly warmer than it was for the women's race. In terms of technique, did you do anything differently when it was soft underfoot? It's difficult. You just have to try, I think, and bring the ski as your non-lead side. Bring the hanging leg as far up into the gliding leg, then you get the return. So try to slide it as far up into the climb as you can.
think I was lucky because I was lightweight.
I think the saving grace is that under the softer snow, there's a hard, icy base, so you can afford to stamp the foot down. When it's all soft, you have to be much more delicate, ski like Bjorn Dahlen did.
And that's when Bjorn Dahlen was at his best. He would just float apparently, or visually looks like just floating over the surface. And if you press down too hard, you can dig so deep into soft, mushy snow, absorbing your energy, almost like running in sand.
Well, Simon Ada has picked the pace up, Mike, staying with this group at the moment, having lost 25 seconds to all the skiers over the first 7.5K, so impressed to see that. Be nice to see Ada challenging for a top 3.
Just thinking, he is the wise old owl in this group, isn't he? He's been around a long time now. And he says he'll go into coaching. Of course, Simon Ada, he's 37 in February, in fact. So vastly experienced on the 23rd of February, his first day.
Foucault ahead of Johannes Kern. Ada now just starting to ease things off. 2 Frenchmen in this chase group. Simon Dessieux there, just at the back. And Jesper Nellin of Sweden has done well. No sign of any other Swedes on the start sheet. A bit disappointing. I think, you know, we were expecting more from the Swedes this year, particularly after their success in 2018 in Pyeongchang and their home World Championships last year in Östersund. Now, Pfeiffer, can he recall all those days when he was out the front of the field? He's just got to be confident in his own ability. Pfeiffer, of course, one of only 3 men in the field who has moved into double figures in terms of wins on the World Cup Tour. Pfeiffer has 10, Schemp has 12, Martin Fourcade 78. 78, incredible.
Well, Arne Pfeiffer, he's a quiet man, he's a very modest man, and he's a very popular man in the German team and with the spectators. And he's from the Harz Mountains. We don't often, and historically, get many top biathletes coming out of the Harz Mountains area of Germany, the north.
Yeah, St. Andreasberg, Braunlager, 2 little alpine resorts there, right in the old days, right on the eastern border.
Exactly.
You had to make sure you could stop, otherwise you were heading into no man's land.
Just about to say, he looks very composed, but that must have been nerves.
He was lucky with the second one. It was low left, split round, but 3 is down safely. 4 is wide. That's 2 penalty loops and a chance for one of that chase group now to move into the front. So not what the crowd were wanting, but Pfeiffer the first to get away. He'll get the first loop done. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but he could end up 25 behind.
One of these athletes can shoot fast because they'll see the opportunity of the dead wind, shoot fast, make them count while you've got that window of no wind.
Dessieux has done it. Martin Fourcade, will he match his teammate? Yes, he will. So it's France 1 and 2 suddenly here in Oberhof. And Simon Dessieux, what a moment for him. What an opportunity. He has never won 4 times. He's finished in 2nd place. He's going to have to hope that his teammate is not on form for the last shoot. That's going to be a mental battle as much as anything else. Who else can clear 5? Tadipo, is he going to come back? He's got 4 out of 4. Oh, throws number 5 wide. Alisiev Russia gets 5, and that will put him into the top 5 or 6, I think. Pfeiffer comes out 3rd, 25 behind exactly. Ada at 28 has missed just 1 target so far today. So we've got 3 athletes who have missed just 1. No one is clear, and this time I'm right.
Isn't biathlon brilliant? The wind just dropped away in an instant. It allowed each of these athletes, yes, it's a stressful situation, but normally they can manage the stability of the rifle to get 4 or 5.
Martin Fourcade not giving his teammate too much space there in terms of cutting in front of him. Is that a bit of gamesmanship, Mike?
I think it's just saying, yep, I'm going to win today. Don't come near me. This is my, I own this race. Dessieux
Yeah.
Looking tired.
Yeah, looking very tired. I was just going to point out the difference in the amount of upper body, lateral movement of the upper body compared to the two of them. Fourcade not quite as stable as he was last time around, but they're now all starting to tire. They've still got a couple, or just under a K and a half to go on this lap, and then the final 2.5 to the finish line.
I'm surprised yes, he's trying to go with that. I had wondered if maybe there'd be some working together, but no, this is every man for himself in this race now.
What do you think Fourcade's thinking? If he can gain 10 seconds on this loop, he can then make up the difference should he miss one more than Dessio on the last shoot.
Do you know, I think you're right. That's why he's made an absolute effort to break away, buy himself that comfort zone of one missed target. I don't think he's going to miss.
Well, he didn't miss in the sprint event on Friday, and Fourcade in the relay shooting 0-0. So he's had a perfect weekend so far, apart from the fact that they had to settle for second in the relay behind Norway, but that was none of his doing. It was Jacquelin who shot badly in the prone today and missed 5 of his 8 rounds in the stand yesterday.
Jakob Fack, a little surprised, 15 shots fired, he's missed 3. Moravitz behind him has missed 2. But a good day for the Austrians. Eberhardt is in 4th and Simon Eder still in 6th.
Fourcade has the corner to himself. No mistakes like the one we saw on the second lap. Just edges his way around. Look how close they are to going off the track. And it's pretty unforgiving here in Oberhof. Lots of dirt. If you've got bits of fir branch on the tracks, you've got to avoid them, because all you get is the dirt and the oil off the needles.
Well, Martin is such a perfectionist. I was just about to say, watch how he will miss that big branch, or it's a little twig, but he went right over it. You get the resin off those leaves, and minor small factors, but it can slow your skis down.
Now, in conditions like this, where we're essentially on artificial and old snow, how long does a race have to be until you get the benefit of changing skis at the halfway stage?
Over 15 kilometres, would you? Your 20-second pit stop, I'm not sure it would balance out. Your 27-second pit stop to change over. But no, you're right, it's so aggressive and dirty, this snow, that the wax preparation, the wax that you've put on begins to come off. Especially the machine-made snow, it's so aggressive. The crystals are so sharp.
Yeah, they allow a ski change, obviously, in the men's 50 and the women's 30 in the major championships and World Cups. They've reduced the number of times you can change them, which I thought was interesting, because I think it's a fascinating part of the race. But it does mean the big teams, again, the rich teams, have an advantage.
Yes, and maybe that's why in cross-country they've taken it out. Of course, biathlon, they consider doing pit stops in longer races, but you could only really do it in a mass start.
So Pfeiffer needs to keep the difference under, I was going to say under 25 seconds. He wants to be within a penalty loop of the leaders, but the fact that Fourcade has pushed the accelerator gives him more than a shots advantage over this group. Should Fourcade hit 4, he's still got a very good chance of winning this one.
They have, and do you know what? I still believe that any one of this big group here, from 40 seconds to 48 behind, any one in this group who hits 5 and fast still has a chance to get on the podium, but it does mean that those ahead of them need to make a mistake.
Tadiapo at 56.
He's pushing hard. He didn't race yesterday, so you would think he's got more power in his legs. He probably has fractionally.
A lot of athletes are sort of put into brackets of chasers or leaders. Some ski better when they're leading, some are much, much better when they're chasing.
I think Tarja comes into the bracket of a very good chaser. You often see him moving up in pursuit competitions. Dessau, I thought Dessau may have been broken by 15 seconds at the last point of checking. He's only 7, he's probably still only 7.
It is an interesting strategy, isn't it, Mike? Because on what we've seen over the last 6 minutes, Fourcade has established the fact that if he shoots 5 and Dessau shoots 5, he's still going to win. Unless, of course, he has a meltdown. This is where Raphael Poiré had a meltdown in, I think it was the pursuit. Was it the pursuit or the mass start in the World Championship?
It was the pursuit, because he won
in 2004. Yeah.
Yes, he won the mass start.
So it can happen, but you just sort of feel the confidence around him that we haven't seen for 18 months.
What about the wind? That's really a factor. It's at the moment, it's okay. Is he back to his old winning ways?
Well, I think he is. I think it's all about when the cat's away, the mice will play, and I think it's the JTB factor.
Wind is okay, wind is kind.
Hannes Tingis maybe reconsidering his decision to sit out so many weeks of the World Cup.
Mata not rushing this sequence at all.
Yeah, Desseux, on the other hand, very quick to get the first round away. He's just going to make sure. Is he going to punch the air when the last one goes down?
He will. It's a miss.
Well, there you go. And an opportunity now for Desseux if he can get this down quickly, but he throws that wide.
Panic.
And so the race on for the minor positions now. Pfeiffer will know this is his chance.
Which one is going to shoot fast? Maybe Eberhard?
It's got to be incredibly fast, and they have to be clear. Foucault already halfway round the penalty loop. No one rushing the first shot, and even so, Eberhard and Fion-Meyer throw it wide. Pfeiffer likewise. No one can hit a target. Christiansen's on the charge for Norway, but he misses for Bjørntegard now with an opportunity. Philip Horn could be the first German to get away. Pfeiffer still stuck on the range. Been a disastrous last shoot for him. Horn is waiting. That's 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds on his last shot, and he still can't release it.
That is fascinating. How many have been missing so many targets in this last time into the range? Is Horn ever going to shoot that rifle? That was 40 seconds, 30 seconds to the last shot.
So Foucault suddenly gets himself a 27-second lead, despite the fact that he missed.
Look at Tarjei leading the world standings, and it's a meltdown.
Oh, that is an absolute disaster. But, Mike, we saw him. He tried to bridge the gap from the third group to the second. It cost him dear. 4 laps, 600 metres to ski before he gets back out on the racetrack. Moravec hits 5 on the last loop. That could get him a top 7 or 8, certainly. Horn goes out for Germany, eventually getting it down. 58 behind Nellin. Christiansen, who just missed his last, otherwise he would have been in second place. Alisiev 9 for Russia. Moravec in the top 10. The master is back. 2 wins this weekend, plus a second place in the relay. He is back in yellow, and my goodness, he's going to enjoy that. I think it'll be as satisfying as the very first time he won the yellow bib.
Oh, I think, look at that last shot though, the mind did get in the way there. He really snatched that over to the left, but not enough to hold him back.
He gave the others an opportunity. Well, it looks like for the second race in a row, Mike, it's going to be a 1-2 for France. Foucault winning again. Desseux this time is going into second place ahead of it was Jacquelin last time. Can Pfeiffer close that gap down? 15 seconds, 2.5 kilometers. He's going to have to go some, and if you push hard on the first part of this course, you always pay a price climbing back up into the stadium.
You absolutely do. I think that Arne Pfeiffer will probably try and go for it. The coaches will be encouraging him to do that. It's a huge task.
Well, Pfeiffer's got Fack, Dale and Horn a little bit further back and just behind him.
In fact, Pfeiffer's pulled back 4 seconds already, so he is trying to close it down.
He's still 10 seconds behind second place. Dale is now 47, so he's at 6, having been 10 behind. So Johannes Dale actually the quickest on the course at the moment.
Putting the edges in there just to kill the speed a little. He's having a look ahead of him. There's his prey. I think he's going to really go for this. Getting as much recovery. By the time you've descended that climb, your pulse has dropped down and you're ready to fight again. But the legs are loaded with what? 13 kilometers. Just over 13 gone. Desseux is not going to let this go easily, and Pfeiffer is reading his body language and really picked up the pace. He senses that Desseux is really suffering now. Yes, he can see him. Let's get him.
Well, Dale's coming as well. Jakob Fack, that familiar dancing style of his, very powerful off that left leg. He's trying to make ground, and we've got one of the Swedes coming through. That's Jesper Nellin, who was a lucky qualifier for this race. He's going to get himself into the top 5 if he keeps that speed going.
He can't believe it's so close, because when he left the range, it was a full, 15 seconds.
But the French may take some satisfaction from the fact that Dessieux was, he was 15 seconds quicker on the course than Arndt Pijper was. So Dessieux still in pretty good shape.
That was interesting. Vincent Vito, because you just can't hear information from the coaches, he told them how many seconds Pijper is behind, or showed it to him, but he nearly tripped him up.
And how is Dali doing behind? Dali of Norway was 6 seconds behind Pijper. I think that gap might have grown just a fraction. Still no sign of the Norwegian. There he is. There he is. It's Pijper who's making the gains at the moment. A top two. Just listen to the crowd as he works his way back up to the Rheinsteig Stadium. This is a phenomenal effort from Pijper.
That's a huge expense, though, Patrick, to take 13 seconds off to this point. He's on survival at the moment. Just needs to get in behind Dessieux.
Can he raise a sprint after that effort? It's a long, long way into the finish.
Dessieux knows that he just has to keep that thread a little further, not let him make contact.
Yeah, Pijper needs to get in the slipstream as quick as he can and stay there as long as he can. Don't offer any work up the front.
Into the headwind, though, up here now. That could be Pijper's gain, his advantage.
Yeah, Dessieux has had a look over the shoulder. Just a slight change in tempo, indicating that he's going to push hard as they come in. Little climb, another 50 metres, and then they break right again. Fourcade, meanwhile, is on a cruise, home to his third victory of the season, and he claims the yellow bib in the absence of Johannes Tingesbo. Fourcade moves on to 387. Johannes Tingis is stuck on 374. Well, it'd be interesting to have an interview with Johannes Tingis after this one. 2 in a row, 3 for the season, and I just feel that he might sense he can win the Crystal Globe for an 8th time. Here comes Pijper. Brilliant climb from Pijper. Dessieux hasn't given up on this one quite yet, but he doesn't have the tempo to respond, and it looks as though Germany are going to pinch second place. A lunge for the line, and I think it goes to Pijper, but that's the worst possible angle to see it from. We'll give it to Pijper for now. He certainly produced a quicker time over the last lap. Great effort. That is where the home crowd make a difference all the way round. Pijper being cheered on. Dale, 4th place, a PB for him. His previous best was a 6th, and he's done that already twice this season. Fact, you said he might do well. Might top 5, brilliant. 43 seconds down. Slightly surprised to see him miss 3 targets, to be honest. He's a good man in these sort of conditions.
Yes, this is the kind of conditions that Fact responds well to, but he's improved massively to finish 5th. I'm so impressed with Arndt Pijper. I wasn't quite sure who got it on the line there, but it is Pijper 0.2 of a second ahead of Dessieux.
Ada shooting well. The Austrian 3 misses in the end. He was he must have missed 2 on the last stand, because Ada was in a very good position. One of only 2 to be clear after the prone shooting was completed. Dionmaye, 124. Things haven't gone well for him this week. Logging off, remember, up in the top 4 of the World Cup standing, 17th. And Taliabo yet to be seen, having done 4 loops on that last shoot. Last time we heard he was 2 minutes 39 behind. But again, it's Martin Fourcade in control, 3rd win of the season. Well, those are the sort of races that biathlon needs, Mike. The sprints and the individuals are for the specialists, and the mass starts and the pursuits are for everybody.
They're for everybody. It's the toughest test, I think, to find the cream floating to the top, the athlete that can handle the pain on the skis, and then the discipline of shooting.
That was Dominic Vindish wearing bib 18 just across the line. I think still a bit bruised and battered after his fall yesterday. Hopefully he'll be able to sort that out before the racing starts again in Ruhpolding.
Just Lukas Hofer missed 8, that's the worst shooting, and Schemp actually only missed 2. Equal best shot, but his ski speed not there.
Prima in 24. Here comes, is this Taliabo? It is. Not a day to remember. He'll scratch that one off his scorecard come the end of the season, but it's very early days to be using up those sort of events. And he loses his opportunity to go back in yellow for the first time since 2011. 2:53 behind. Well, ski jumping coming from Val di Fiemme. And David Goldstrom, of course, on hand for that event. Not a lot of natural snow there either. So after a really good start to the season, Mike, a bit disappointing. We never expect too much of Oberhof, but credit to all the course workers. They've done an amazing job to complete the program of races.
They have, and Jana Pitkanen, the TD, she's had some tough decisions. They've had to rechange some of the tracks and so on. They've done a grand job.
So that's all from Oberhof. Thanks for your company throughout the weekend. Thursday, Friday was hard work, but the weekend's racing has been quite sensational. Brilliant relays yesterday, and the mass starts never fail to entertain. Martin Fourcade taking control today, and another veteran, Kaisa Mäkäräinen, showing what she can do in the women's race. Nice to see her winning again. Wednesday, of course, it kicks off in Ruhpolding, the women's sprint at 1:30 UK time, and we'll be racing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 5 days of great action from one of the best stadiums in the world. We'll see you there.
Wir warten noch auf den, der bei der Ehrung am Freitag die Sektdusche von Martin Fourcade gekriegt hat. Ja, Jacqueline ist noch da draußen und ich bin überzeugt davon, dass es in der Kehre der Sägespäne-Runde, dass wir auch ihn würdig in Empfang nehmen werden. Der letzte Zielanlauf beim IBU Biathlon Oberhof 2020 und dann gleich die letzte Siegerehrung. Hier ist er dann in der Skihalle, Emilia Jacqueline.
Martin, congratulations, another win, but you shaked a little bit for the last one that didn't go down.
Yeah, my little shoot was a bit tricky, a bit of wind when I came, and I must say that I was a bit lucky because I think I missed only one, but I could have missed three. But I took my responsibility all the race long, and I'm really happy about what I achieved today. It's 79 victory in the World Cup, and I'm so proud of it, and I just give a big kiss to my two little daughters at home.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Was für ein Abschluss dieses Tages, dieser Biathlon Oberhof, die alles wieder geboten hat. Sonne, Regen, Schnee, Schur, Windstill. Und vom Thüringer Minister für Bildung, Jugend und Sport, also der Minister, der für uns hier zuständig ist, Herrn Helmut Holter. Félicitations pour la 3e place à la France, Simon Détieux. Glückwunsch zum 2. Platz an die Mannschaft aus Deutschland, Aaron Pfeiffer. Wir sagen noch einmal herzlichen Glückwunsch an Martin Furkat, Aaron Pfeiffer, Simon Détieux, Johannes Ahre, Ausstrahlen zum ASEO